Hey guys, and welcome to Gwent, the Witcher card game. My name is Jaggerous, and today I have a Fan Friday deck for you guys, which means it's a deck submitted by one of you. And if you'd like to submit your deck for a video, then you can follow the link to my Discord in the description below and post it in the Fan Friday text channel. Today's deck comes from Luke Ortega, and it's a Shupe Dragons deck. So Shupe's Day Off is your kind of card that you're building around. Words are difficult today. So we have Shupe's Day Off, and if your starting deck has no duplicates, then you can send Shupe on an adventure, and when you do that, you can get Shupe Mage, Shupe Hunter, or Shupe Knight, and each of these cards has kind of different options. For example, Shupe Mage, you may draw a card, or you may charm one of your opponent's cards. Shupe Knight, you can make a kind of 25 strength unit, or you can make a resilient unit, for example. There's lots of different options. It really depends what it is that you're after. And then we have some dragons. So we have Synthesis Blaze, which I had to craft for this deck, so I'm holding you personally responsible for that, Luke. But we have Synthesis Blaze. Banish your hand and draw that many cards. And honestly, like, if you play her with a full hand, she's kind of insane. But if you play her with a small hand where you maybe have a couple bricked cards, she's not inherently bad. You know, if you happen to draw into, say, your regular Foglet, or maybe your Moonlight when you don't want to be playing that, then she's not too bad in that regard, I would say. So we'll see how that kind of works out. Phoenix allows you to resurrect a Bronze or Silver Draconid, and I actually absolutely love this card in combination with Ockfist, because it means if your opponent kills your Ockfist, you have a second chance of trying to trigger him, which I really like, because after 4 turns you deal 1 damage to all enemies and then return to your hand on turn start. And then obviously we have Shupe, which I mentioned previously. Then we have Frightener, which gives us kind of card advantage, move an enemy to a unit's row and draw a card. Then we have Murtabrak, who's also a dragon, deal 2 damage, repeat 2 times. And then moving away from dragons, we have Nekarat, which gives us Moonlight. And this is a vampire. Moonlight, choose one, a full moon, boon, or apply a blood moon hazard. Blood moon deals 2 damage to all enemies on the row. Full moon boosts, I think, beasts and vampires on that row. We have Abaya, which gives us weather clear, it gives us rain, and it gives us kind of damage, so it's just kind of a solid inclusion. And then we have Divana Runestone, which creates a random silver monster card, because who doesn't love RNG and create, right? So this is where the deck gets a bit weird, because here we have to put one of each card in. We can't put multiples in. So what Luke has gone for is there's a kind of a Death Wish thing going on, and then there's like a Moonlight thing, and then there's like a Fog kind of thing. So we have, for Death Wish, we have the Cyclops, then we have the regular Griffin, trigger the Death Wish of a Bronze ally, Cyclops kills a unit, and then deals damage equal to its power, but also that, you know, would trigger Death Wish. And then we also have the Dow, Death Wish spawn 2 lesser Dows on the unit's row. Lesser Dows are 4 strength. So we could play Dow, trigger it with Griffin, and then kill it with Cyclops, for example. That's kind of one strategy that we could utilize. We also have an Arcaspore, which just moves around to random rows, deals 1 damage to enemies, and you can always kill him right at the end of a turn to deal 4 additional damage from your Cyclops. So we've got that going on. And then we've kind of got some random kind of cards, like we have deal 5 damage to an enemy with Wyvern, and we have an Arch Griffin, which is worth 10 for hazard clear. And then we have some kind of weathery archetype, so we have like Bridge Troll, which we can use to move a hazard to a different row, which kind of works in conjunction with Ancient Foglet, boost 1 by 1 if Impenetrable Fog is on the board. We can play that with Dagon. And then Foglet, which will get thinned from our deck when we play Fog. So we have that going on. Then we have this Moonlight thing with Siren and Moonlight and regular Werewolf, which I actually like as a set of 3 cards. I play it in my Eridan deck. But then we have Lamia, deal 4 damage to an enemy. If the enemy is under Blood Moon, deal 7 damage instead. And I don't like this, because I feel like you either want to go Moonlight or you want to go Blood Moon, and typically I would suggest going Full Moon because it gives you an engine. So I kind of like the Moonlight, but maybe not Lamia's inclusion. Then we have this Spear, deal damage equal to the base power of a Bronze or Silver unit in your hand, which just feels a bit kind of arbitrary in the deck. Like, yes, we have a lot of kind of big-ish units, but this still feels a bit like, you know, it's just been kind of thrown in there. And then we have Recon, which I like in this sort of deck because it just gives you some thinning. Anyway, guys, that's the deck. So we'll jump into a casual game, and I'll showcase this deck in action. It's not really a competitive deck, but it's meant to be fun, so hopefully we'll have some fun. And if you like this deck, don't forget to leave a like.
I forgive you. This time.
Okay, so we're against Yun, which means we're probably going to have all of our stuff removed. So that's going to be fun. In terms of what we want to play here, we want to throw Foglet because we're going to play Fog, and realistically we want to throw Moonlight because we would thin it with Siren. I think, honestly, I'd also throw the Spear, and actually we got Siren, which is quite useful. On the flip side, he can't actually target Werewolf, So if we do play the Siren and she dies, we can just put the werewolf in the weather and he can't target her. So that's kind of nice. We've also got our Dagon, so we can play Fog and we can thin our Foglet, but we didn't get our Ancient Foglet, so we don't have that synergy. The good news about this deck is we have so many random cards that his Slave Drivers are going to be kind of awkward. So let's open with Dagon and get that Fog on the board. There we go, and thin our Foglet. I like this as a kind of play. We also have Frightener, which we can use to move units into the Fog, although he wants to play into the Fog anyway because he's playing Alchemy, and Alchemy plays Mahakam Ale, and Ale requires you to have units on every row, so I think this will be quite good.
Of course, as you wish, master.
As you can see there. Then on top of this, we can set up our Siren and play the Moonlight. He's going to kill the Siren. I don't in any way question whether or not that'll happen. But it's kind of okay because we can play the Werewolf on that row. So that's kind of good in that regard. We have Cyclops and we have Griffin, but we don't have Dow. So playing the Death Wish kind of strategy is going to be a bit awkward. And if we play the Arcaspore, he'll probably just kill it. So that's kind of something we have to be, you know, wary of in this situation, is what do we play next. Maybe we play Murderback just to get him into the graveyard so we have a dragon that we can resurrect. You know, there's kind of options here.
Utter your wish, and I shall make it so.
Okay, so now he knows that we have Villain Mirth, which is fun. Realistically, he's just going to let this buff. So if he's going to do that, we should just play this now and hope that the buffs go onto the Alpha Werewolf, because if the buffs go onto the Alpha Werewolf, that's better for us. We can play the Arcaspore next, but he'll probably kill it. Realistically.
Your words mean nothing now.
Oh, Frost, nice. I mean, we're ahead, so we can go 2 cards up here, so I'm going to take the pass. I think if we have the option of going 2 cards up, we take the pass. Even though our deck isn't ideal, well, especially because our deck isn't ideal, if we go 2 cards up, then we kind of have choice. And having choice is really nice, because then he's not likely to ever gain card advantage back, which means that even if our deck is less strong or less synergistic, it's not a huge problem. So here we are. Now he passes. If he plays his spy, we can play our spy. We'll still have to play 1 more card, but it does mean that we'll then go into the final round 1 card up. And that puts us in a really good spot with our Villain Mirth, so I'm kind of happy about that. We got Blaze. I'm likely to throw... I think I'm going to throw Lamia. Because Lamia, we don't even have Blood Moon, you know? Let's just throw this. Oh, that is a nice pull. He is going to kill it, though. And he's probably going to kill it more than once, because he has a lot of removal. But maybe we can just bait out his removal, which would be quite good.
Let us see.
Cool, so we'll play Frightener here. Got one for you too. Bridge Troll without Weather is a bit awkward. Although what we could do is we could try and go for the Shupe effect where we play Weather on 3 rows, especially as he's actually already played his Weather Clear. He's already played He's already played the... what am I trying to say? He's already played the Van Hamar. So actually, I think we'd be in a really good position if we chose to do that. We'll play the Archgriffin for now. Archgriffin just gives us, you know, points. It's just solid points. He's not going to weather us. He's played his Runestone as well. So it should be alright. Although we are giving him big targets to kind of start clearing.
That was not in the spell books.
Guess he goes Ointment again.
Of course, as you wish, master.
So this is not perfect. We're going to play... Let's just play the Arcaspore for now. It's not going to put us ahead, but realistically that's fine. He's chosen to play into this round, so we don't necessarily need to care that much about being ahead, especially as we are, you know, still 2 cards up, and we can easily make 6 points with 1 card. He's likely to kill the Arcaspore, but if he doesn't, we can play the Griffin and just trigger it. Alternatively, we play the Bridge Troll, because we're not likely to see good value out of him anyway. And actually, this puts us in a really strong position for the final round, because he doesn't have any Weather Clear. So we can kind of force him into a situation where he has to row stack. Or we can just wait with Shupe and then we can apply the weather effects after with Shupe Mage. And I think that's what I'm going to do in this strategy is go for the kind of Shupe Mage trigger. And actually drawing the Dow there, really, really nice. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with this hand, all things told. The only thing we don't have is a dragon in the graveyard. But we can put a dragon in the graveyard by playing Okvist, because he's likely to just want to kill that. And it'll also bait out some of his removal. So let's do that. It's not the perfect opening play, but if we can kind of encourage him to play some removal, that's going to be good for us. Because I know he has it.
I shall do what I must. I shall not repeat Emir's mistakes.
Obedience or the lash!
Cool, so Okvist is still not dead, which is actually good for us. We can play Murtabrak here and get some more value out of that. I'm just wondering when we want to play the weather. He's already played 3 Ales, so he's actually not... He doesn't need to spread his units out. So maybe we wait. And the thing with Shupe is we can always hold him and just use him as a big finisher. So for now, I think we play the Murtabrak. And we'll just kill the Wyvern. Killing the Wyvern's kind of fine. Like, it leaves units on the row. We could have kind of spread out the hits, but it doesn't really matter. And so we're in a kind of solid position here. He's killed our Okvist. So I guess we resurrect it, realistically. Alternatively, we play Dow, but these guys synergize, so we don't want him to kill the Dow. So let's just res the Okvist. And actually, when you res the Okvist, you'll notice its timer does reset, so it comes out, it says 3, but when you res it, it goes back up to a 4, which is kind of a shame. Kind of a shame, because if it held its timer, I think that play would be much more powerful. Okay, so let's play Shupe. Let's go Shupe Mage and try and get the weather effects. Charm a random enemy, deal 10 damage to enemies, play a bronze or silver special card from your deck. Oh, we didn't get it. We can use this to play the Runestone. I guess we just play the Runestone. We tried to high roll and we didn't high roll, which is a shame. And now we have an Ifrit, but, you know, it is what it is. It is what it is. This is what we're playing. We maybe could have gone for more value there. We got 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We got 18 points of value. It wasn't terrible. But I would have really liked to have weather on every row because we have quite a few turns left.
Not much left of that world.
So I think for now we play the Dow, and then if he kills it, we can always throw these guys with Blaze and just draw into new cards. Although, what do we want to draw into, realistically? I don't know. I don't think we have a lot of good options.
Here's our chance.
Oh, so interestingly enough, didn't kill the Dow. I guess he didn't want to give me points. So let's play this and get some more points. And he's probably kicking himself now that he hasn't killed it. Although if he kills it, he'll give us more points. So, again, not perfect. The highest unit on the board at the moment is a 9. That's a little bit of a problem. It's a little bit of a problem because it means that our villain Tretemeth is going to burn us, especially because we have 11s in hand. So we need to kind of wait and see what he chooses to play.
Here's our chance.
Because if we play Bork now, we may end up burning ourselves. Or we just take it for a solid number of points. The thing is, this deck typically does run Viper Witcher. Let's play Bork. He doesn't know what we have, right? He doesn't know that we have 2 11s in hand. And because he doesn't know that we have 2 11s in hand, he's likely to try and kill this. Because at the moment he has 2 6s.
Damn it.
Okay, slightly awkward. So we're going to play an 11, which means we're not going to see good value out of the Bork, unfortunately. Unless he has Viper Witches, like I say. In which case, it'll burn his final card. It comes down to, is his final card more than 11? That's what we kind of have to wonder here. Because if it's more than 11, if we play, say, Synthesis, we just blaze ourselves. Hey! Feels good. I made the right call there. That was pretty risky, but I made the right call. And I'm feeling really good about that. So we actually managed to win against the meta deck with this deck, which I think was quite impressive, all things considered. Although we did use our weather in order to generate points in the first round, and we managed to get 2-card advantage. And also we won the coin flip, which does help. Anyway, I'm going to jump into the deck builder now, and we're going to tweak this deck a little bit, and then I'll be right back. So generally, I think this deck is actually not too terrible. I like what it's trying to do, but I do want to make some changes. Like, I'm going to take out the Lamia. I'm going to take out the Spear, for sure. And then maybe the Wyvern and the Bridge Troll for now. That gives us a little bit of room. And I think because you want thinning and stuff, you should be running Wild Hunt Hound and you should be running Frost. Because honestly, Weather is kind of how you're going to generate points. Like, yes, it's low value, but it can cause a lot of trouble to your opponent. So I think running those in there is pretty nice. Then on top of that, we want some things that are synergistic with weather. So Drowner, for example, I think is a really good inclusion in this deck, because Drowners, if you move something into a hazard, it takes more damage. So that is pretty good in that regard. And then, honestly, I'm tempted to put in Barbagazi because it gives us some carryover. And a little bit of carryover is, you know, really nice. Like, having just a little bit of carryover in your deck kind of gives you options. So I think we should run that. The other thing I want to switch here is actually, I'm going to take out the Archgriffin. I'm going to put the Bridge Troll back in, because at least that's synergistic with the deck, as well as being 10 points. Then if we have a look at the silvers, I'm thinking Monster's Nest. I like Monster's Nest more than I like Runestone, especially when we have some big targets that are going to end up in the graveyard. I think that if you run Monster's Nest, you're more likely to see value, whereas the Runestone is kind of a risk. And honestly, Monster Silvers are a bit kind of eh. So that's the other switch that I want to make here, is kind of that. Beyond that, you know, it's not a bad deck. It kind of works out. The other thing you could go for is you could switch out Abaya into Ozrel, or you could switch out Nekarat into Ozrel, but at least Nekarat gives us an extra Moonlight, so I'm not, you know, entirely against it, because the engines do help us. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at now. So I'm going to jump into a game and I'll showcase this version of the deck in action, and you guys can let me know what you think.
Onward! Attack!
Okay, so we want to throw... We have Moonlight, and we have 2 Moonlights. We want to throw a Moonlight. We got Frightener. We have a Ancient Fogler, which is nice. We have Bridge Troll, Cyclops, but no, we don't really have anything synergistic with Cyclops, so let's throw that. Siren is good, and I think I'm going to leave it there, because I don't want to draw into... I don't want to draw into Frost, and I don't want to draw into Moonlight. So, and I don't want to draw into Foglet, so we'll kind of leave it at that. I think that's okay. Let's open with our Siren, and then apply a boon, play Full Moon, and just get an engine kind of ticking. We also want to play Fog, but, you know, at the moment there's no targets for Fog, so we should wait until we get some targets and then start causing some trouble there. We actually have Bridge Troll, so we can move the Fog, which I actually quite like in this situation, because it means we can play Fog nice and early. We get our Foglet out, and we're targeting the Blue Stripe Scout, because
Has yet to
basically it's more sensible to do that, in my opinion, because if we can kill it, he has less options. Okay, so we're going to wait one more turn and let this kind of die. The other thing we could look to do here is we could look to play Okvist and try and kind of force him out the round. Okvist would put us ahead, and then we have like Bridge Troll. We could also play Abaya and apply Rain, and that actually might not be a bad shout either, giving us some more weather. Yeah, I think the way we win this is with stuff like weather. So let's play Rain on the front row. Also, if we can hit those 5s, then, you know, our opponent gets a lot less benefits in terms of those guys buffing, is what I'll say. And now we can play the Bridge Troll. We'll move this to here. And there you go, now the middle row is fogged. And this is probably the first time anyone has actually seen Bridge Troll get played. And it's actually worked out really nicely for us. So I'm honestly surprised this card isn't teched into a few more decks, because it can be pretty powerful. And there we get the pass. So we take our own pass. And we could try and bleed him this round. He's playing a Nova deck, though. He's got 26 cards, so that kind of suggests it's a Nova deck, which means we don't necessarily want to bleed him. We want to try and find Villain, Threat, and Mirth. The problem we have there is we didn't play our Ancient Foglet despite playing Fog. There's Drowner. So let's play the Frightener. And we drew into Shupe, which is really, really good. But again, we kind of want to find Villain, Threat, and Mirth. What we can do this turn, though, is we can play Okfist. And just kind of see what happens. If he has removal, he has removal. If he doesn't have removal, this is really strong for us. And the fact that he didn't kill our Siren in the Moonlight makes me think that he doesn't have removal.
Just great.
Let me think. Do we actually have removal for her? So if we drown her, she takes 2, and then we can play the Murtabrak and she'll die. Or we play the Ancient Foglet and then we play Cyclops. And just kill her that way. It's a shame the Murtabrak's not an 8. Because I would like to kill a bunch of those 2s. So let's just do that. It makes his Triss much less potent.
Can't take it anymore.
And we could play, what's it called this round? We could use Nekarat and get ourselves an engine. Yeah, I think we play the Foglet, then we play the Cyclops and kill the Triss. Realistically, we can just bleed him this round. That's what we're kind of trying to do here, is trigger the Okfist and bleed him and get, you know, even bigger card advantage, which I think is a pretty powerful strategy. He's up 27 points, but there's no way he can pass in this situation. So, you know, that's really, really good for us.
Huh? Who are you?
And now we have card advantage going into the final round. I'm just wondering if I have what I need to win, realistically. I'm going to play Recon because I want to thin the deck a little. I think we keep Frost. Because if we draw into the Hound, that would be pretty good. In which case we play the Arcaspore. Again, he can't really pass here because we have so many points. So it's kind of fine.
Onward! Attack!
Now we want to get out of the round. I think we've kind of had enough here. This is kind of sufficient. And I would really like to draw Villain, Threat, and Mirth. That would be kind of perfect. And we maybe are going to have to use the... We are maybe going to have to use the Say Synthesis to do that. The other thing we could have done is trying to bleed him and then played Shupe's Day Off. So here, I think, honestly, we throw Okvist because he's just a standard 8. Like, he's kind of fulfilled his purpose, so now we can kind of discard him. And that's not too bad.
I see you've thought about
So there's Thaler, which puts cards kind of more or less similar. We're still kind of ahead. We still have one more card. So we'll play Full Moon on this back row. Try and generate some points. And the thing is, we could
I'm a medic.
get rid of
I know what I'm
Griffin
doing when I
and
prescribe
Drowner. We could get rid of Griffin and Drowner with Blaze. That is, you know, an option. If we want to do that, I don't think it's a bad option. I think for now we'll resurrect the Murtabrak. And that's just because I don't like him having, you know, this many units. We're not getting full value, but I think because he's playing this swarm strategy, then killing his units is probably good for us.
Come to Pappy!
Yeah, that's the kind of thing that you kind of expect to see. So I think this is where we play Shupe.
Shupe madly make. Shupe rock drop you.
The question is, what do we go for? Because we could play Mage. Mage, we can charm an enemy. We can deal 10 damage to an enemy and 5 to adjacents. You know, that's actually pretty good in this situation. Charm a random enemy, spawn random hazards on all enemy rows, play a bronze or silver special card from our deck. We can use this to play Monsters Nest. If we play Monsters Nest, what do we get? We get a Ghoul. We can use the Ghoul to eat an 11. It's a decent number of points. Alternatively, we go for the Charm. The worst case, we get 2. The best case, we get 20. And we're likely to get a 7, which is 14. Monsters Nest, I think, is worth more than 14, though. So let's play a bronze or silver special card from our deck. We play Monsters Nest. We play the ghoul. And then we eat the 11. And at this stage we have pretty decent tempo. The question is whether we want to
win 'em all, but you won't.
burn these or play these. And the question is, what are we likely to draw? If we get Werewolf, that's better. If we get Dow, that's worse. If we get Wild Hunt Hound, that's worse. I think, honestly, we actually just play out these cards and just kind of allow them to happen. So let's kill one of these 2s. We're up 17 on even. He's probably got Nova, though, which is not something that we'd like to see here. And actually, he's forfeited, so I guess he doesn't have Nova, which means we win. Honestly, I'm pretty impressed that we won 2 games with this deck. But I do think that making a few changes to it like that does make it a little bit more consistent, and you end up with slightly more useful cards than some of the ones that we were running. So that's pretty good. The fact that we were able to play Frightener and win round 1, then play Frightener and Orcfist was kind of insane, because it gave us, you know, a really nice card advantage, plus he gave us 13 points from the Thaler. So all in all, I would say that was pretty solid. But yeah, that was Luke Ortega's Dragon Shupe deck. And if you like this video, do leave a like. Let me know what you think in the comments below of a Monsters Shupe deck. And if you want to submit your deck, you can find a link to my Discord where you can post your deck in the Fan Fridays text channel. Beyond that, have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to find me on Twitch, you can find me live streaming at twitch.tv/Jaggerous. And you actually also can find me making a weekly video on a Wednesday on the Top Deck Pro YouTube channel. So I do a weekly Critically series, which is kind of similar to Fan Fridays, but it's me and Crash Overlord. That's on the Top Deck channel, so you can always check that out. And you can follow me on Twitter at Jaggerous. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a fabulous day, and hopefully I'll catch you in the next video. Bye!